The following video was uploaded to Reddit a few months ago and was recorded from a car in Nebraska. We can see a huge tornado in front of the car blocking the road entirely, and what the driver decides to do will leave you shocked. Have a look. As the tornado continues to rage on, the man thinks the smart idea is to get a little closer. The sheer size of the tornado definitely means it's carrying a lot of debris, so getting in its range should be considered extremely dangerous. Regardless, the group wanted to record the incident like no other, and proceeded to approach. Luckily, they didn't get too close, so they did survive, but they were pushing their luck to the maximum. The upcoming clip was recorded on a mountain by a group doing ice climbing. At the time this clip was taken, however, they were crossing a glacier. In the opening frames, we can see a man in blue tying his harness to ensure his safety, but that would have had no effect if the following event didn't pan out in his favor. Have a watch.
Borun, böceği. Да. Блин, камеру включить забыл.
Suddenly, the man takes a glance back and sees a huge boulder rolling down the mountain towards him and his friends. When he realizes what's coming, he stands still and watches it for a bit as it rolls down. This is because a boulder's path is unpredictable, and trying to dodge it too early could potentially put you more in its path. As it gets close, the group untie their harnesses and start running to the right before, fortunately, the boulder's crash course tilts to the left and avoids them completely. Thankfully, the people were left with no injuries, but definitely learned to keep their eye out in the future. The following clip was filmed on a 360-degree security camera. We can see a car zooming down the road, way above the speed limit, with its headlights on. As it approaches the turning point of the road, it starts indicating that it's going right, but a red car is in the way, which rules off this maneuver. This causes the upcoming event to happen, and it even leads to the loss of a human life. Take a look. As soon as the cars hit the building, it comes crashing down on them. All of the bricks and dust make the vehicles invisible, but the men inside them manage to survive. On the darker side though, there was a person living inside the building who didn't have a metal car protecting themselves. Unfortunately, the building crushed and killed them. The upcoming footage was recorded aboard an ultralight helicopter above a rural area. It shows us the aircraft cruising through the air comfortably without issue. But this isn't the case for long. All of a sudden, the engine fails the passengers, and they are unexpectedly thrown into a life or death situation. Have a look. As the chopper loses its ability to stay airborne, it starts to lose altitude fast. This is because ultralight helicopters tend to be low speed with high drag, making them fall a lot faster. As the helicopter closes in on the ground, the pilot tries his hardest to keep it upright to make the landing as smooth as possible. But to his dismay, he fails, and they tumble around like a rag doll after landing. It wasn't the worst case scenario though, because both people aboard walked away with minor bruises and no other injuries to their name. The following video was recorded in Washington in December of 2012. The person recording this video is in the safety of a car by the railroad, but the approaching chain couldn't be further away from his situation. Next to the train was a muddy hill which looked ready to collapse at any minute. What it does is insane, so have a watch.
Holy shit.
The hill begins to fall apart and drops all its mass onto the train and its load. Upon impact, the front carriages were derailed, and the train was demobilized. The derailed carriages had no human passengers, so no one was hurt except the operator, who likely had minor injuries. Many people have a fear of flying in airborne vehicles, and this next video is designed to fuel that fear even more. It was filmed on the 23rd of July, 1951, and shows one of the worst plane crashes ever recorded. The plane was piloted by US Navy Captain George C. Duncan, and the crazy thing is, he survived. Just take a look. The bottom of the plane crashes into the edge of the ship and completely explodes, leaving a trail behind it as it drags across the ship. The amount of smoke left behind was impossible to see through, and the raging fire was a serious threat to everyone aboard the ship. Hoses were quickly deployed to combat the fire, and eventually it was put out. But how did the pilot survive such a drastic plane crash? Just as the plane smashed into the ship, Duncan kicked the nose of the plane upwards, which split the plane in half. This meant that his cockpit was the only part of the vehicle not in flames, and he wasn't disintegrated. However, the fireball did end up scorching his ears. This was all he had to show for the crash. On the 16th of March 2024, the upcoming video was captured in Maryland. It was around 1:30 a.m., and a container vessel struck one of the center pillars of the Key Bridge, resulting in a collapse. The speed of the bridge's collapse is incredible and will make your jaw drop. Have a watch. As the vessel hits the bridge's pillar, the entire structure falls into the river in a matter of seconds. Once the bridge collapses, the authorities begin to search for casualties all around the area and find a heartbreaking number. 4 people were confirmed dead after being found submerged in a truck, and an estimate comes in at 20 total victims. The following footage was captured on the 27th of February 2024 on a Hawaiian beach. On board the helicopter are American tourists from Maryland, but after this event, they'll never travel in the air again. Take a look. As they fly over the mountains, the pilot looks up and notices that the propellers have stopped working. This is when he realizes he must execute a crash landing. He starts tilting the vehicle in the direction of flat land and tries to keep the chopper upright during the descent. This is a success. The helicopter lands perfectly flat on the beach, but couldn't hold the position for long. Almost immediately, it rolled around on the floor with the passengers inside and ended up looking like this. Luckily, a Jack Harder helicopter spotted the group on the ground and made the local services aware of the crash landing. Shortly after, a response team was sent out and found that only 1 tourist was injured in his back area. The victim was treated and the scene was cleared without any real struggle.